What's up, folks? Sean, the Average Angler, and we are bringing it back to the table. After my last outing, I did some stuff that I haven't done for quite a while, right? And I thought, I wonder why that wouldn't still work. Well, it does work. New stuff just came out. We forgot all about it. And this technique is, quite honestly, maybe better than it's ever been, because it's just not getting any attention now. But what worked back then still works. Now, what you do it with may have to change, because I just tried to find the bait that I prefer to use to share with you guys, and lo and behold, they're not made anymore. See, techniques come, techniques go. But this is a great technique. It's one you can do anywhere, from walking ponds, in downtown, wherever you live, creeks. You can do it on the biggest of lakes or rivers. This is an old standby, if you will, okay? It's probably caught more fish than, well, maybe a Senko's catching up now. But this technique's been around a long time. It's just been forgotten about. And for me, when I got into bass fishing, quite honestly, on one of my local lakes, we had a worm that we called it Calero Candy, me and my friends. It was, seriously, it was all you needed. And that paired with this technique, we caught 20-pound bags all the time. I have been back on that lake once this year. I didn't take this rig. I think I'm going to need to do that, just to see if this generation of fish is as gullible as past ones. Anyway, let's get on with it, because quite honestly, I want you guys to try this where you're at and let me know how it works for you, because I did it this weekend and it worked great. Didn't miss a beat. And like I said, I think because it's times have changed so much in the baits, and there's so much new stuff, and quite honestly, there's not a whole lot quite like this worm, but I do have some alternatives for you, so we'll get into that. But the rig doesn't require a whole lot. This is a 704 iRod Gen 3, okay? And you could also use a 703. The 704 is a heavy, the 703 is a medium heavy, okay? Both work fine. Typically, I'm going to throw 12 to 15 pound test. And the important thing really in the rod is that with the weight you have paired, that you can feel it. Now, this is a old-fashioned that hook sharp. I don't know if you can hear that. This is an old-fashioned brass and glass. Now, if you get the idea to want to do this with tungsten, I'm going to save you the trouble now. Okay? Don't. Tungsten will shatter the glass when you set the hook, which will cut your line. If you decide you want to use tungsten, they have beads for the tungsten. Okay? I think they're tungsten beads. Now, whether this is something special or it's just a clicking noise, I don't really know, to be honest with you. I still have a lot of brass and glass, okay? And this is a 3/0 EWG Gamakatsu. And my preferred worm that is no longer made, and I still have a decent stash here in my box, but a couple colors are almost gone. And this is the one I referred to as Calero Candy, which was Aaron's Magic, right? If you don't know who Aaron is, Aaron Martin's probably my favorite pro bass fisherman ever. Nobody loved bass fishing more than that guy. And unfortunately, Aaron's no longer with us. But he left a lot behind. If you go into a tackle shop and buy hooks, you're going to see his face all over the G-Finesse stuff with Gamakatsu. All right, so typical Texas rig, okay? Just enough to where it covers the top. You can see that little tag end just sticking out. And one of the things I liked about this worm, it's flat on both sides. Okay, and then just expose it. Now, in a bit, I'll give you some alternative baits that you could do. I don't suggest a typical 6-inch robo. I've tried them. They will work. There's something about the tail, I believe, that just draws a little more attention, okay? And there's some other worms that I think will work. Anyway, most of the time I use this around points, and I would just throw it out there, and after we scanned, back in the day we used 2D, just went to where we saw some fish, then we'd pull off to the side, throw back up there, and we'd shake the worm in place. So you're just shaking slack line, okay? Believe me, it's making noise down there. Not slack, but, you know, a bow. If it moves a little bit along the bottom, that's okay. But you don't want to pull it out too fast. This technique is meant to call the fish over and have them eat it. It's not the fastest way to cover water. It is a great way to catch fish where you know there's fish at, okay? Now, let's get into some alternative worms, because one that I think would work very, very well, quite honestly, I don't know, and I'm depending on you guys to leave me a comment on if this would be possible, and if so, which hook would it require? And that's the Z-Man Fatty Z. Okay, again, it's flat on one side. It has this bulbous tail that's gonna dance around nicely as you shake it. Plus that this floats, it's buoyant, right? So it's gonna stand up off the bottom. And my theory, right or wrong, I like it, so it works for me, is that brass and glass, the fish think this thing is down there eating something. What better time to go eat your prey than when it's eating something else? They're not paying attention to you. Great time to eat. All right. All right, so anyway, typically when I did this, I used either a shad-colored worm or a bluegill type color of some sort, like Aaron's Magic. This here happens to be green pumpkin blue. They also have a sprayed grass in the Fatty Z. Fatty Z, I don't know. Anyway, as long as you understand what I'm talking about, we're all good. All right. The other one that I really like, and I just found out they make a fat version now, is the Reaction Innovations Flirt Worm. Again, Reaction Innovations has some awesome colors, right? We all know, if you've been around, the Sweet Beaver, all that guy, they've got so much stuff. But the Flirt Worm is probably one of the best worms on the market in my mind for shaky heads, dart heads, and this technique is shaken. The tail on that worm moves really, really well. The other one that I looked through and thought would be pretty good is the 6th Sense Bambusa worm. Colors I liked were blood apple, green pumpkin juice. Now, 6th Sense, who has so many great colors and so many baits, I was really surprised did not offer a wide array of color choices in the Bambusa worm. I don't know why. It's Ben Milliken pushes it a lot. Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, shaking a worm. Now, the rod, as I mentioned, I'm using a 704 there. Ideal rod's probably more of a 703. You kind of want a little bit of tip, because what happens when the fish eats it is you don't really feel a bite. They'll pick it up and they'll just start to swim off. So the rod will start to load, you set. 703, 704 works fine. Up to like a 7'3" series, 7'3". I really like the 7. It's just because in this technique, you're holding your rod tip up and you're shaking the slack. So when they start to swim off with it, you're going to reel down, holding the tension even, and then set, okay? The other place this works is, well, pretty much anywhere you see fish hanging out, but it tends to work also if you're fish the point, then go down on the main body, just down from the point a little bit. I always seem to find a group of fish there. Now, I don't know if they just move up and down or if it's close enough that they just cycle in and out to the point to feed. That's kind of my theory. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. The older I get, the more great ideas I come up with. Are they really great? Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching. Sean the Average Angler. Oh, we didn't talk about, maybe I did talk about pound test. Typically 10 to 15. The lighter you can do, the better. It just makes casting easier. You can go up to a quarter. Typically, I really like 3/16, but it might be easiest to learn on quarter. This works really, really good on ponds, folks. If you're a bank beater, you're walking a pond, city park, whatever it might be, if there's bass in there, this technique works. And it doesn't require a lot of, it's very inexpensive. Brass and glass is not very much. And then you just need a hook and your pack of worms, okay? Keep it simple. Go out there and catch some. Let me know how you do. I want to hear your comments. If you know a hook to hold the Elastec, that would be a key one, because I really love the Elastec on a shaky head because it stands up. It's really buoyant. Let's teach each other something today. Thanks, folks, for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.